So welcome everybody. I figured I wouldn't make you guys wait any longer. I wanted to introduce you to the new ride in the shop that I recently picked up. Now, first of all, let me just start by saying that yes, I know I did say that I wasn't going to buy another vehicle until we were all done with all the renovations and things, and at least the major things around here, around the property. And there's a simple explanation. I lied. Yeah, I just, I continue to look, and when I asked my wife if she was okay with me buying another vehicle, and she said, well, actually, I'm kind of surprised you haven't already. That was like the green light for me. And I already have mine a few vehicles, and I ended up settling on this one. Now, this one, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a history on it. Not going to take it for a drive today. There's a couple of reasons why. Number one, the tune is not completely right on it. It needs some tweaking. And number two is it's kind of rainy, it's a little damp and cold and everything like that, and this vehicle does not shine in that kind of weather. So, but this particular vehicle is a 2010 Dodge Challenger SRT 8, and I actually found the vehicle even when I was in California. I had changed my search area to out here a couple of months before we even left, and I'd seen this vehicle, but at the time it was turned up pretty good. It sounded a little radical to me based on the description. And the price is kind of high in my opinion, even for a modified SRT 8. So I bypassed it. Once I got out here, I was still looking around at different things, and I really thought that I wanted a 5th generation Camaro SS ZL1, something like that. Definitely wanted a manual transmission and something that was fairly modified, that had good horsepower, nothing too crazy. But I ran across this one. I really like this color. It's my second favorite color, second favorite Mopar color, I should say. And it's just so clean. The miles were low. I talked to the owner. He gave me some insights, and I figured, okay, this sounds like it's a pretty good setup. So I did end up buying it pretty much sight unseen. I mean, I saw pictures and videos and things like that, but essentially I just went ahead and wired the guy the money, and I had a buddy of mine that's done some shipping for me out here already. He went and picked it up, brought it back for me, and I'm not disappointed in the car at all. It's very clean. It's super low miles. It's got like just under 48,000 miles on it. But there is some tuning issues, and I'll talk about that in a second. So as most of you will know, this thing, well, all of these came factory with a 6.1 liter Hemi V8, developed like 425 horsepower, and for the time, they were pretty impressive. 0 to 60 in like the, I don't know, low 5, high 4 second range. You know, for the weight that these Challengers carry, it did pretty good for the time. This one was born as a 6-speed manual. It is no longer a 6-speed manual. It now has a built 426 Hemi with a Whipple supercharger, supporting suspension mods that I don't know a lot about because I haven't delved into the paperwork. And it does have the 5-speed automatic. It still has the 391 gears in the rear end as far as I know. And it's been pretty heavily modified. So the story that I got from the seller is that the person who owned the vehicle before him had this car and basically wanted a street car that they could take to the track and run 10-second quarters and then drive it home and still have like heated seats or air conditioning, all the conveniences, be able to drive around town but still be able to run 10-second quarters. So that's what this vehicle got built to do. But then that person, once they obtained that, kind of got bored and said, I want to delve into the 9s. So this thing got turned up and retuned and adjusted and what have you. And as far as I know, it did make it into the 9s. Then that person got a little bored again and decided they wanted to try to get into the 8s. If you start doing that, and then you're going to need cages and you're going to need parachutes and all kinds of stuff like that. I don't think it ever got into the 8s, but according to the guy I got it up of, at one point in time, this thing was right at 1,500 horsepower. He had it detuned. I guess he was having a problem when he was trying to sell it. Most people were like, okay, it's great, but I don't want to put race fuel in it because they were running 110 in it. And I just don't want something quite that radical. And he said that the race tune was pretty radical for the street. So he had it tuned down from that, and then he ended up tuning it down even more. And supposedly the car's just a little north of 800 horsepower to the tire. I haven't really been able to experience the full effect of the car. I do know it's fast, there's no two ways about that, but right now whenever I drive it, when I first drive it, it is throwing codes. It's throwing like it's running a little bit rich, or there's some heating issues, partially because there's no cats and everything like that. So I think that's just something I'm going to have to deal with. But just a couple little things that kind of throw it into basically a safe mode, and just kind of limps, and it's not there. So I've got to take and reset all the codes on it, which I can do. I've got actually a little handheld tuner that I can use, and I can reset that. But I'm going to try to talk to the guy who actually detuned it. He's about 4 hours from me. Supposedly he's open to talking to me. I put a call into him earlier and haven't heard anything back from him. I'm hoping to hear something back from him and talk to him a little bit more. There's still a race tune that's available that I can adjust it and take it back up to that race tune according to the little handheld tuner. And I'm thinking I might want to try to do that. The prior owner told me that it's pretty radical. You step on the gas and he says it'll just, once it starts going, it kind of jumps up there, which it does that now anyway. It's not exactly horribly consistent. It's not really easy to drive into traffic, in traffic I should say, because when you're driving it, I mean, you step on it, feels like it's doing nothing, and then it kind of gets up there and it grabs and it takes off, and it does catch you a little off guard. When I first got it, it had the little 275 tires, some off-brand tires in the back of it, and I mean, I could be running like 35, 40 miles an hour, and I could hit it at 50%, and it would start blowing the tires off. It would just grab for traction. Now, I have since put some Toyo R888s, which are my favorite tires, and they hook really, really well, and that's made all the difference in the world. Now I can lay into this thing a lot harder and see what it's a little bit more about. But in addition to the codes that it's throwing, it seems like at a higher RPM, 4 or 5 grand, and full throttle, it's cutting out on me a bit. I mean, the thing is a beast even at 70-75% throttle, but I want it to run the way it should run. So I'm thinking I might want to stick the race tune, which according to the prior owner is about 1,200 horsepower, which would mean it's probably going to be just a little shy of 1,000 to the tire. And I figure that'll be okay. If it runs better, I don't know about the code situation, but if it runs better, even if I can't get all the way into it, I'm probably never going to use the full 1,200 horsepower on the street anyway. So I think that'll be just fine. But I do want to talk to the tuner. I do want to see what's going on there. Really don't want to spend the money and the time to ship the car all the way back to him and have him tinker with it and do more stuff to it if I can avoid it, because that's going to cost money. Might just try to find a tuner around here if I can't get it and get it sent there, even if it's like an hour, hour and a half away or whatever. I can certainly trailer it there and drop it off and let them do what they need to do. But yeah, like I said, the car's super clean, low miles. Everything seems to work on it except for the cruise control, which is not a big deal. Good cruising car. And let me take you for just a quick walk around and show you how clean it is. We'll start at the very corner here, and you can see it does have a carbon fiber hood, a little bit more air intake. And there is the beast. Like I said, it is a 426 Hemi. It does have headers and apparently a leaf. It doesn't sound like it has too much of a cam. I can start it up before this video's over. But it has 3-inch exhaust. It just has some very small mufflers on the back, cold air intake, of course. I don't know as far as pulley setup or what have you. I don't know a lot about that. Don't know a lot about the build. But yeah, it's impressive, and it does have that supercharger whine. Put this back down. Take a little walk around it. I do think the carbon fiber looks really, really good with a Plum Crazy. And then it's got the SRT wheels. Like I said, I did go with a wider tire, almost too wide. I went with the 305s. Probably should have went with like a 295, would have been better. But I wanted to put as much contact patch down as possible. And really, there's nothing I want to do to it other than just get it dialed in and running correctly. So interior super clean, as you would expect a vehicle with this mileage to be, and the car is really super comfortable. It's super comfortable to cruise in and drive, very unassuming. There's no boost gauges, there's no aftermarket gauges. It looks pretty factory, and I guess that's just kind of what the guy wanted from the cars. Just for it to look factory, but kind of be able to hold its own and then some on the track. All right, I did promise you guys a cold start, so I can at the very least do that. a driving video on it once I get a little more dialed in and kind of get a feel for it, especially if I step up in the tune. I feel like I'm pretty comfortable with the way the car performs right now, especially once I got those tires on, less chance of it getting loose. But again, if I end up stepping up this tune, it's probably going to step up another at least a couple hundred horsepower to the rear wheel, and that's going to change everything. So we'll see what happens. I'm hoping to talk to this guy really soon, get his input, his take on it, so we can get it set up the way I want it and show you guys a little bit more in detail about it. But I like the car. I'm willing to hold on to the car for a little while. I think it's cool. I think it's going to be my fast Newark vehicle that I'm going to have in my collection. I still plan on getting a couple more vehicles, but again, that's probably going to be more into like the summer or what have you. I just couldn't wait. I had to have something. I was itching for something. That's what happens when you have an extreme automotive addiction. What can I say? And yeah, this one's fun. You know, kind of comparing it like to Hellcats. I've driven a couple of Hellcats, not real hard or whatever. This does feel like it's got more to it, and it should, based on what the previous owner was telling me. One of the things that made me feel a little bit more comfortable about the previous owner is that he raced cars. I mean, he used to, like, I think he used to have a car that ran like in the 8s, he was telling me about. So I felt like, okay, if this guy's raced before and he's telling me it's fast, then it should be pretty fast, and it is. And like I said, once it's all dialed in and good and everything like that, I will be happy. Obviously, it's not a daily driver, so I don't care about driving it in traffic a lot. This is going to be something I'm just going to take out. You know me, run it around the block, run it down the road, play with it a little bit, step into it a little bit, impress myself, and then come back to the shop and put it away. That's it. So anyway, that's yeah, that's the one that I broke down and bought. So I hope you guys like it. I love, as always, your comments. Please feel free to share your thoughts, good and bad, as far as that goes. And yeah, I guess there's more I could say, but I'd just be boring you. So with that, as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And guys, God bless. Take care. Have an absolutely amazing day.